How everyone doing? It's your boy A Dog TV, another day of Gossip TV. Today's news, today's gossip. What we're going to be talking about today is simply why US strike Nigeria. Let's go for the non-Nigerians. Let's try and understand the reason why, and I'll break it down to you because I've read the reason why this happened and the previous warnings and stuff, and I explained to you what I think of it as well. So let's dive into it.
The deadly strike operation that President Trump says he ordered on Islamic State terrorists in Nigeria. Listen to this. That, as you can see, released from the Department of Defense yesterday evening. The U.S. military reports multiple ISIS terrorists were killed in the attack, which the president first announced on social media. This comes after the president for months has warned that the United States could take military action in the African nation, claiming that ISIS had been targeting Christians in the region. The president, writing in part this on social media about it: I have previously warned that these terrorists, that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay. And tonight, he goes on to say, the Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, as only the United States is capable of doing. Now, Nigeria confirmed the two countries coordinated in this effort, in this strike. Their foreign minister joined CNN earlier this morning.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform.
What took place yesterday clearly underscores the fact that Nigeria is not lacking in will and a commitment to the fight against terrorism.
CNN's Nada Bashir tracking this one for us. Nada, what is the very latest that you're picking up?
Well, we're still not getting full details just yet from U.S. officials with regards to the details surrounding this strike. What we do know is the U.S. Africa Command has said that multiple Islamic State targets and militants were killed overnight in these deadly strikes. We've heard, as you mentioned, from the U.S. president himself addressing this military action in social media.
Let me explain to you why they targeted Sokoto State. So basically, this Boko Haram people, they've been killing, kidnapping. This is why a lot of people abroad are scared to go to Nigeria to go Christmas because they've been attacking, kidnapping, killing like loads of people back in Nigeria for the sake of money. And so some would ask and some would say, oh, why did these people, why are the Nigerians doing that to Nigerians? Well, now we had two presidents ago before Tinubu. He hired these people to come to Nigeria to because they're not Nigerian, so they hired them to come to Nigeria to help with the security of the elections and stuff, and they will pay them money so they can help them, so they can help them secure things around Nigeria. So, long story short, after their presidency time was up, now all these guys are back in Nigeria and they're jobless. So, but remember, when they were brought into Nigeria to help the politicians and stuff, they were heavily armed with machinery. So, when the presidency came off power, now these people, they're not getting any more money, but they have heavy machinery. So they just thought to themselves, right, they're not giving us money. We're here to do a job and we're now jobless. So the only way we're going to be able to do what we're doing, what we need to do to feed our family is to kidnap, rob, and this and that, this and that. But now they're ruining the country in a sense. They don't care about anyone else but themselves. So this is the reason why Trump bombed that Sokoto area, as you can see right there. The bombs right there, Sokoto area. You feel me? Um, hold on a second. Like all of this area here, that's where they bombed. So for that reason, I hear what they're saying. But Is it right for them to do what they're doing? There's no reason why innocent people should lose their lives because you're jobless. There's loads of you. You can find something else to do. You shouldn't be making other people's life miserable because yours is a misery. Two wrongs don't make a right. You feel me? So that's just a quick breakdown on what's happened and the reason why they're there and the reason why they're doing what they're doing. Let's carry on.
This military action in social media, saying and describing this as a powerful and deadly strike against Islamic State terrorists. And this strike took place in the northern Sokoto region of Nigeria, just bordering Niger. Now, at this stage, again, no clear details with regards to the impact. What we do know is that this was carried out in coordination with the Nigerian government. We've heard from a Nigerian presidential spokesperson and advisor saying that both the US and Nigeria are on the same page when it comes to tackling these security concerns. And of course, what we've been hearing from the White House.
Well, originally, the people that lived in the Sokoto area, they're from Benin. They're from here. So they were hired from here and there. So Burkina Faso, Benin, they were hired from there to come and help to do like dodgy dealings, in because they didn't want to use the Nigerian military because they didn't trust them. So you can see how close that is. Let me try and minimize my screen. Just bear with me so you can see it properly. I try and minimize. With me. Right. So as you can see, click off that. So as you can see, Sokoto is right there, and um, Benin is right there. So the previous government hired people from Benin and Burkina Faso. So those people there in Sokoto, that's where they were based. That's not where they are. That's where they're based. So this is where Donald Trump actually striked, because to clear them out. They're literally by the edge of Nigeria, as you can see. It's current listening.
For several weeks now, and from the US president himself, is the ramping up of concern around the protection of Nigeria's Christian community against extremist attacks. And it's important to note and underscore that, of course, Nigeria does have a deep-rooted history of security troubles when it comes to Islamist extremist groups. But these attacks that we have seen in the past have targeted both Nigeria's Christian and Muslim communities, two of the largest religious communities in the country. So this is certainly a historic concern within the country, but we are now seeing very clearly that first-hand action by the US.
But this is another thing. I don't know what religion they are. I know they're attacking Christians. I don't know if they're Muslims themselves. I don't know. Let's see if we can find out from this.
Military in Nigeria, according to officials, in coordination with the Nigerian government.
Yeah, Nada, thank you so much. Much more detail to learn here for sure. Appreciate it.
And the president warning, of course, there could be more to come in Nigeria, writing on Truth Social to the, quote, dead terrorists, warning there will be, in his words, many more if the slaughter of Christians continues. Joining me now in the group chat, Sungmin.
See what this is.
Sungmin Kim, CNN political analyst and White House reporter at the Associated Press. Ashley Davis, former Sungmin Kim, CNN political analyst and White quote, dead terrorist.
Right. Tonight, at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launches a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria, who has been targeting and visually killing primarily innocent Christians at level not seen for many years and even centuries. I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, they would be held to pay. And tonight, there was the Department of War executed numerous protection strikes as only the United States is capable of doing under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic, okay, so they claim to be Islamic terrorism to prosper. May God bless our military. Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if the slaughter of Christians continue. And that was tweeted by Donald Trump on Christmas Day, as you can see, by 5:51 p.m. 2025.
Warning there will be, in his words, many more if the slaughter of Christians continues. Joining me now in the group chat, Seung-Min Kim, CNN political analyst and White House reporter at the Associated Press, Ashley Davis, former George W. Bush White House official, and Eugene Scott, contributing columnist at the Boston Globe and visiting fellow at the Johns Hopkins University Agora Institute. It's nice to see all of you this morning. Seung-Min, when we look at where things stand, the fact that the president really has cast himself as this peacemaker, often talks about the wars that he says that he has ended, and yet we are seeing this approach not just in Nigeria, but in other pockets around the world. How do we square what we hear from the president and what we see on the ground?
Well, how the administration squares it is that this is all part of President Trump's strategy, his foreign policy doctrine of peace through strength, obviously. However, you have, on the one hand, you have, him touting all the conflicts that he has helped resolve abroad, but then you see a lot of offensive military action abroad. And, his aides don't see that necessarily as a contradiction. They say that part of keeping broader peace is making sure that these targets abroad know that the U.S. is willing to strike if necessary. But I also think that this is a contradiction that you're going to be hearing on Capitol Hill, particularly as it relates to these strikes and the strikes that we've been seeing elsewhere in the country. You had the Pentagon saying yesterday that they did this in coordination with Nigeria's government. However, you're already starting to hear from Capitol Hill. What about coordination with us? Is this something that lawmakers should have authorized? And I think that tension, that conflict, is also what we're going to be hearing in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, one would anticipate that, especially we'll likely hear a little bit of it today, but certainly once lawmakers return from their recess. It's also interesting, the president this is not the first time he has called out what he says are targeted attacks on Christians. It's important to note the country itself is about split between Christian and Muslim faith, and the data doesn't necessarily support the president's claim that Christians are being disproportionately targeted. Ashley, this has been, though religious persecution has been a really animating subject matter, if you will, for many conservatives. Does it matter to them that the data doesn't line up? Because that is a significant issue.
Well, good morning, Erica. Nice to see you, and hope everyone had a great Christmas. But I think that it's really important that we need to realize that there's two things. One, that we did coordinate with the government of Nigeria, and two, Nigeria is a really complicated country that we've been dealing with. I mean, I'm a national security hawk, go back to George Bush administration. There's been terrorist breeding in that region for a long time. What I just learned this morning was the fact that we coordinated, which makes it less complicated than before. But I'm very happy that the administration is actually striking in abroad rather than them coming and striking us in our country. In regards to the Christian and Muslim controversies, I mean, we don't know what we don't know. It's so complicated. There's a lot of national security complications that are overlaid between the two groups that the ISIS and terrorist groups are hiding behind the Muslim religion. And so I think that we need to be very cautious.
They're hiding behind the Muslim religion. They're not Muslims, feel me? Because even Muslims don't support what they're doing. And another thing is as well, I will say, so a lot of people will say, okay, why America? Why does it have to strike Nigeria to help them? For me is, if he doesn't do nothing, nothing's gonna change. They've been ruining Nigeria. This Boko Haram, they've been ruining Nigeria for the past 5-6 years. Literally, if America didn't do nothing, nothing's gonna change. So for me, it's either people that are talking now say, "Oh, why does it have to be him to do that?" Because he needs to. He's saying that Nigerians are not allowed to in America no more, but he can send his troops to Nigeria, or not even his troops, but he can bomb to help Nigeria. Yeah, that's because if you guys know how asylum seeking works, so if he's sending people back home to their country and they're back to the country and they find out where they live, there's a lot of killing, kidnapping, and everything going on, then they're gonna go to another country and claim for asylum. So he's trying to make sure their country is safe, so when they go back, they feel safe, and that's literally it. That's literally how asylum works. So if he clears it, make sure these people are not there no more terrorizing Nigeria, so and be able to um give the Nigerian police enough ammo to protect their people, then when people are being sent back home, then it's safer for them to stay back home. So they won't, because literally, if he sends someone back home and they claim asylum seeking from to America, then America now has to spend more money to bring them back and put them in housing and feed them and everything because they put them in danger. So for that reason, he's trying to make sure this part is cleared first before that happens. It's all a stepping stone. You feel me? It's all a stepping stone. So once he can clear that, then his previous plan that he was saying, he's still sticking to Nigerians and not allowed in America, but he doesn't want to put them in danger. Whether that's right or wrong, if he doesn't want them in his country, who are we? It's your country. Do what you want. It's like my house. I can't if I don't want you to come to my house, you're not gonna come. Just what it is. It is what it is. You feel me? But anyways, let's carry on listening.
That this is, including with the president, that this is a religious attack.
Yeah, caution definitely. I would just say, just based on our reporting, the data does not support the claims that Christians are being disproportionately targeted. To your point, there are a number of disputes internally. It's not just religious, it's communal, it has to do with ethnic tensions, farmer-herder disputes. There's a lot happening in Nigeria specifically. You know, when we look at Eugene, when we look at the way that this is playing out, well, we're also looking at new movement off the coast of Venezuela. What does this tell you about the focus moving forward when it comes to not just where the U.S. is leaning in internationally, but what it could mean in terms of support domestically when there are these questions continually raised about Congress and even notifications?
Well, that is one of the main questions many lawmakers have, including some on the right. There seems to not be some consistency in terms of vision. If there is a foreign policy agenda, which obviously there is, it has to be communicated in a way that is clearly understood and supported with even some of the people in the president's base. I've talked to voters, and they're very concerned sometimes that they don't know what the next move is going to be from this president in terms of global conflicts and international affairs, and how inconsistent it seems to be with what he campaigned on. Part of that is because we know that the president's support is actually more ideologically diverse than I think a lot of people outside of his camp realize. And so there's some issues that are of concern and major priorities for one segment, such as perhaps Christian conservatives, and not others, which might be some of the individuals who want to see America pull back from some of these types of interactions. And so I think what will be really
This is the thing. You doomed if you do, you doomed if you don't. For me, my say in this is it's obviously we know that Trump is a businessman before president. So he's gonna do what he's gonna do. He's what I think in future is gonna happen is he's gonna try and clear out. He's probably already found out that there's a lot of oil in that Sokoto region. So he's probably made a deal with the president, said, we're gonna help you clear out this area, then we're gonna get a certain percentage of land or oil, some sort of business that's gonna make both parties money. Trump don't do nothing for free. We know this, but let's be honest. If if you live in a land that there's so much gold under you, but you don't probably let's say 100 miles below you, but you don't have the facilities to go get it, you're still broke. But if someone else says to you, you know what? I'm gonna buy. I want that gold that's under your land. I'm willing to give you this much money because they're not coming for free. They will give you money, but what they will make is more than what they're offering you. Of course, that's how business works. But would you sit in your pride and be broke and just say no? What is worth a lot more, or would you take that money that they're offering you that can change your life and let them do what they need to do? It's part of business. It's just part of business. And he's a businessman first. I know what I would do. So this is so if Nigeria can get the help and people can feel comfortable, and it's a win-win. Everyone wins. Feel me? Everyone wins. That's just my opinion, though. Feel me? Anyway, it's your boy. Another day of Gossip TV. Today the gossip was Trump and Nigeria. I wonder what we're going to be talking about next. Have a blessed day, people.